Hello, welcome to Fresh Death Comics. I'm your host, B. Luke, and this is Fresh to Death, the podcast. I'm joined by Amy. How are you doing today, Amy?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm here with you, B. Luke. That's pretty great.
No, it's not.
Well, I didn't see you at all today until I came home, so.
Again, I wanted to record last week. I have broken my foot even worser. And I'm going to say worser because it's worse and everything I'm doing is just getting wronger with my foot. I need a robot foot at this point.
Which is hilarious because as soon as we got out of the doctor's appointment, you were like, the doctor's going to amputate my foot. And I was like,
still believe it.
I was like, that's not even close to anything she said.
That's what I believe, though.
I know.
I honestly
I
believe
know.
that she's gonna chop off my foot and give me be like, here's gonna be your amputee options. Which foot would you want? And I'm like, which one is RoboCop's?
Or C, peg leg.
So we have a lot to talk about on the show. We are going to be talking about Jason Aaron's Avengers. We didn't get a chance to talk about it last time. We're going to be talking about Zeb Wells' Amazing Spider-Man and this new series called Something Epic by Simon, I'm going to butcher this last name, Kudranski. Kudranski, yeah. Simon Kudranski. Sorry if I've butchered the name. I am really bad at pronouncing names. That's why sometimes for the rundown, I give you some of the harder names because I'm like, I don't know how to pronounce this. I am trying my hardest, but gosh, I wish everybody wrote their name out phonetically, so I would know.
I agree. That would help significantly, especially in instances like Simon's, because I'm just like, I'm just gonna take a whack at it.
Yeah,
I don't know how it's gonna go.
Or you had that problem with Spirit World this week, this new character. What's her name? And I'm sure I tried.
Xanthe Joe. And I can say that because I wrote it out phonetically in my script.
But did you? So how did you find out what Xanthe's name was? Because Alyssa Wong is the one writing the book.
Correct.
Did you look online? Did you have to find interviews, or am I just being? I'm going to say it in the worst term possible. White American. Yeah. That if it's not a name like John, Amy, Amber. It's not a name I can even do. Is this a normal name?
Carlos is too ethnic for you.
Yes. And I feel like we get that problem in comics sometimes because we're already fighting about Neymar's name. All the older ones. And now they have so please help me.
Well,
explain
and
this.
Just a quick, I'm still trying to catch myself to make sure I'm trying to say Kamala's name right. Poor Kamala Khan. But yeah, so what I did, honestly, was just typed in the name and saw, what sort of vowels we were starting with. Because it's spelled Xanthe, and I was like, the fuck? When I first looked at it. So, it's really interesting. It's actually, a Greek in origin. Or, Mediterranean in origin. So, Xanthe is actually, an ancient Greek name.
I never was going to get. I was thinking
Same
maybe
here.
India or
no. So I was
Asia.
shocked,
Wow.
Especially because this really leans into the fact that that this is a character that is of kind of the old and new, with Xanthe being a quote unquote traditional name in the way that we look to Greco and Romans as kind of the basis of civilization, right?
In your world, yes. In the Christian world, no.
Don't even open that can of worms.
But keep going.
So then I had to go back and, I was like, great, got her first name down. Xanthe. I can spell that out phonetically, Zanthy, whatever, I don't remember what I put. Either way. And then we get to her last name, which is Zhou. It's Chinese.
H-O.
So,
okay, that one sounds.
So there's an X and a Z in both her first and last names. Oh, sorry. Excuse me. I apologize. In their first and last names I didn't know how to work it in because I was just. I think we're going to learn a lot more about this character.
What is Spirit World for everyone who doesn't know what this book is? Because maybe it's important to know. Now we're talking about this character.
So Xanthe Joe, which is it's pronounced like Joe, as in Joe. Hey Joe. They are a spirit that can travel between the living world and the spirit world. And they have a power where they can burn paper. They fold like I don't want to say origami because origami is like Japanese, and this character has a Chinese. It's a Chinese based
So it's
character.
paper folding.
Paper folding, paper art, I would say. But what they do is that they make like in one of the very first couple of pages of the book, they fold up an umbrella, are able to set it on fire, and then it becomes a real world object, which is really neat. So what they did was they folded up an umbrella, set it on fire, and was able to give it to this little girl who was, just caught in a rainstorm and trying to get home to mom.
So it's like Boo in Mario Kart when you get the ghost power and you can steal something from someone, you get an item.
Yes.
That's awesome.
But why I wanted to highlight this, I was remiss that I did not say this in the rundown this week. I didn't really know where to fit it in and not have it be like kind of like a cheap grab to grab attention, because I didn't want to discredit them at all, because they are I believe this is DC's first non-binary character, meaning that they do not identify as purely male or purely female. And actually, when that little girl is running away and she says, "Bye bye, big brother or big sister," they don't know. They don't care. Like that little girl, that doesn't really affect that little girl's life that much.
Interesting.
That person is a person.
It's hard for the rundown because the rundown, it's a sponsored show. There's a lot of people watching it, and I don't want the attack of like the show to be like, oh, look at their it becomes, because in the I have found in all the comic books I've gone to, there is a great divide in comic book shops.
Mm-hmm.
That there are those it's extremes on both sides, and I have been on both sides.
I know.
Like when Trump was elected, it was that Tuesday night, so Wednesday morning for the comic book shop I was working at. He told us like, hey, let's not talk any election news when people come in. It's not good. And he was telling me like how some of his friends were so scared of the future. Why me, I'm jumping for joy going, yeah, we won. And now I regret
Drain
it.
the swamp. Little did you know it was about to get swampier.
Swamp gas.
The swampiest. The only thing that was missing was Swamp Thing.
So I agree, and I have a problem with that too. With some of the things like I wanna, and sometimes I sneak it in there with like Torrent, and how she is this cop, a superhero. She goes to the police and she's like, "Please help me! They murdered my family." Like, well, there's no evidence. We can't do anything. It turns out they're being paid by the big
Right.
supervillain. So of course they're not going to do anything. And in Nemesis, like they made up they wanted this case to go away, so they just made up charges for this family, and that's how Nemesis is born.
Okay.
Is his family got accused of this murder, and he was stuck in foster homes the rest of his life.
Oh,
And
really?
they didn't even do it. So it's these things like I want to just talk about, like, oh, look at the injustice that's going on. It's so hard to do on a show like that.
Right, especially when we're trying to give it in, basically bite-sized portions.
Yeah, and there's so many books to talk about.
Especially Marvel.
So I know what you mean by regretting things of what. So Spirit World, explain to us then. Give us an in-depth look, because I know. So all I know is that they are a spirit and they can make items for us. Like, I know you said something. I know I saw Constantine with kitties, so I don't know how that fits in there.
Correct.
So tell us.
So
Sell us on Spirit World by
Okay.
DC Comics.
So basically, Xanthe is trying to track down this, for lack of a better phrase, a Chinese jumping vampire.
Okay.
So, who else in the DC universe do you think is going to come in that's a little spooky? Our boy Constantine. I mean, that's absolutely no surprise at all. It being Spirit World, him dealing with everything paranormal and supernatural.
Okay.
Kind
so
of
I
fits
know you said something in
perfectly.
the rundown about Batgirl being in it, so I didn't
Yeah,
know if it was
so
like a Justice League book or just like dark.
yes, all three of them ended up chasing this exact same vampire. So that's how. So they decided to all start working together.
Oh, okay.
But Batgirl got sucked into the spirit world, so they have to now get back to the spirit world to try to rescue her. So
Okay.
now it's kind of a buddy duo of Xanthe and Constantine. And it's also interesting to see how
I would say, how about a buddy hell cop?
Buddy Hellcop, yes. Buddy Hellcop
Because they're
coming
kind
to
of
you.
like cops against demons. They're like, you don't belong here, Damon. I'm gonna take you out.
I don't know
Cesaris
what you are.
Unos. And then,
Yeah, I'm just going to open up a portal.
yeah, like so. Yeah, we can call them hell. You know,
Hellcop.
it's a buddy hell cops.
Buddy Hellcop kind of scenario. But yeah, I mean, as you know, we've learned with new number ones, you know, it's a lot of hand holding. So we didn't as much get into this as I would have liked. You know, I would have liked a little more of like, well, we haven't seen like Cass's side of everything,
And we won't.
and we probably
We
won't
won't see
until
that
at least issue 4.
Yup. The next issue will be explaining like maybe how Batgirl got into it. Probably.
Yeah.
Like they'll take their time, and that's what I hope doesn't happen. So I'm actually interested in reading this now. You've kind of piqued my interest.
Yeah, because so far it's not really about like hells and demons. It's just, you know, spirit world of like where your spirit goes when
okay,
you
then I
pass
guess
along.
I don't know what the spirit world is. When you die, you
Okay.
go to heaven or hell.
So basically it's neither. It's like Earth, but good people, bad people are there. So it's basically just a copy paste of Earth in what I am getting.
So it's like purgatory, but like a waiting room with a parallel Earth.
It kind of, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Okay.
So it's not heaven or hell. It's kind of like this like,
It's like a bonus life.
yeah, kind of.
Huh.
I mean, well, this remains to be seen. I'm kind of just taking a stab here at what, you know, I'm thinking it is. We're gonna have to keep reading it, which we will do, to find out what it looks like. You know, I could be totally wrong, but you know, and this isn't necessarily a culture that I'm too familiar with, so I could just be talking out of my ass here too. So I'm just, it could be a lot of things, but we gotta let the comic tell us, I think. But fuck, throw Constantine into anything, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm down.
Well, that's what you saw. You just got Constantine.
Yeah,
I was like,
and
all right, I don't have to read a demon book. I'm good with that because
yeah,
I'm still like I kind of freak
See,
out a little bit.
which
We watched The Evil Dead the other night, and I remember watching it with Hans and just kind of like doing other things, like talking to his dad. He'd walk in, and you know they don't really pause in the house, kind of, unless. So, like, his dad comes in. I'm like, "Hey, Paul, how's it going? What's the Yankees doing?" And I'm trying anything I can do. Like, I have my phone out and I'm like, puzzle quest.
yeah, no wonder, because you were just sitting there, and I'm pretty sure you were
Terrified.
quite high. And
Well,
you were just like,
thought
I don't
that was the
remember
only
this.
way I could get into it, and I was like, maybe I'll be nice and relaxed. But I think it just made me more paranoid.
Oh yeah,
Because I guess weed isn't as great as I think it is at all times. Which I kind of.
to be fair, it kind of started out with so Evil Dead just breaks out into a fucking like scene. So no wonder you were like, oh my god, I don't know what's happening, because that's a rough area. That's a rough setting to swallow.
Watch, like, what? No, don't give me that. I don't want to watch something. And then they were like, at one point, they're like possessed, but then they're not possessed. And
They were tricking them.
I know, but like, he fell for it every time. I feel like I wouldn't have been. It's funny we talk about smoking weed, though, about how it may have changed my outcome. Because an interview came out this week with Kevin Smith.
Okay, yeah, you've teased me with this,
And so,
and I know nothing about this.
If you haven't watched it, I
Which I-
highly recommend watching the whole thing. I'm not going to go into the whole interview, but he talks about some trauma that he has, and trauma is trauma, no matter how big or small you think it is, your body doesn't understand the difference in trauma. And so he's had some traumatic things happen in his life, and he goes into that. That's his own story. I'm not going to recite that for you. But one thing I will say with it, as he was talking about how he deals with his trauma, he started smoking weed. And he got into this thing of smoking weed every single moment of the day. And the nice thing about smoking weed is you can kind of do anything you want on weed. And I'm like, yeah, you can. Like, it really does help me get through the day some days because noises and, like,
Yes.
medically. But then there's also the aspect of I want to just escape. And there's times when you're like, oh, you should continue smoking. I'm like, no, I don't want to escape. I want to, like, I have to focus on this task I have to do. And so I understand. So Kevin Smith comes out and he says, he had a mental break. He spent some time in this past month. He was in a mental hospital, and he says that he wants to be a new person. He wants to be something new, and he's not going to smoke weed anymore. He's off of weed, and I was like, wow, like that is, and that's the only part that people are talking about is his decision. Like, how dare you, Jay? Like, his movies are all stoner comedies, and I think about like when I've been the big Kevin Smith fan for a long time.
You don't say while you're literally wearing Blunt Man and Chronic.
So, and I've watched all the documentaries. I've watched it, and he said that he started smoking weed during Zack and Miri Makes a Porno with Seth Rogen. That's when he did it because he was flying and doing Cop Out at the same time, and the stress of it. And Seth Rogen was like, "Why don't you unwind? Like, take a break, man." And it's great. It does, but I've been doing it. I would say I was smoking a lot more when I first started, like more than probably I should have. Like, I just wanted to escape it all. And now as I'm doing things like for the podcast, for doing videos, for writing, for reading. I'm like, I need to be at least semi-focused. And my weed intake's gone down. I just really do it just to calm the headaches.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting how we say, oh, you smoke weed. And if you compare it to beer, and if I was to say, oh, I do beers into weeds, and I'm like, oh, I do 100 beers a day, you'd be like, that's outrageous. But if I say, oh, I just get, I have one beer a day to help me get through the day, you'd be like, oh, that's not
normal.
bad. That's normal.
That's
so,
average.
And I feel like weed, there's no, when you say I smoke weed, it's either I smoke all of it, or I've smoked it once and that was it.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's not this middle ground yet. There's not this term for weed in that aspect.
Being a conscious weed user. There's not really that, and I will say that I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that there's been such a war against marijuana.
Yeah, and so you feel like, and I know when I lived in my housing authority,
Yes.
where they were like, you can't smoke weed, I was like, fuck you, I'm gonna smoke weed.
Yep.
Like, this is my medicine. You can't tell me what
But
to
it
do.
literally is your medicine. Like, you are a part of the
Correct,
medical
but I
marijuana
also
program.
abused it and smoked more than, when you smoke a whole ounce in a week, that's too much. So, like, and now an ounce will, it lasts me a couple of weeks now.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks. I went down to no, it lasts me a lot longer than that, but it's just interesting to me that we've just labeled it all as one thing. It's not just like, I smoke a little in the morning, a little at night.
If you smoke weed, then you're Snoop Dogg walking around with a 3-foot joint hanging out of your mouth that you're propping up with 2 hands. Like, that's the stigma, and that has been the basically the stereotype of stoners. Has just really been this whole manufactured that we're lazy, that we don't care about things. Like, I would rather smoke weed than drink alcohol any day of the week.
But there's such a difference in it. Like, if the doctor asks you, how many you drink? I'm like, oh, a couple a day. And they're like, oh, that's great. And then at a party, if I'm at a party, you're expected to drink whole cases of beer.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, look at him, he's great, he's doing that. But with weed, there's no. It's just it boggles my mind.
Can I offer an observation?
Uh-huh.
Okay, let's think back to the Super Bowl when we watched it. How many per commercial breaks during the Super Bowl would you say that there were alcohol ads?
Oh, I've always noticed that my mom is very against alcohol,
Yes.
and that's one of the things she doesn't like about watching sports. So I'm like, watch sports with us. She goes, no, I'm tired of seeing alcohol ads. Like, this isn't how it is. And especially like her being a nurse, she's seen the worst of the drunk drivers and people being abused and hurt. So this is every single sport, basketball, soccer, everything.
Because we have commercialized alcohol and alcoholism, frankly, so much because they're making so much money off of it. Now, how many commercials for Curaleaf have you seen?
0.
Exactly. There hasn't really been. It's and it amazes me that alcohol is forgivable. To me, it's a much more harmful substance. It harms, like, yes, with smoking, obviously, you're intaking things into your lungs. I'm a terrible example of it right now because A, it's allergy season. B, I've been up and talking since about 10 a.m. So I'm a little vocally tired. The fact that it does so much damage to your liver that so many more people are more inclined to drive drunk. To me, I feel like weed is a much less aggressive vice, personally, and I think it's a less threatening vice overall. Now, let's go back to Pat Broderick, when we met Pat Broderick and his wonderful wife. And he was talking about how, he smoked cigarettes, but he also was smoking weed at the same time. And how that basically was canceling out the cigarette damage that was doing to his body. Like, there is obvious medicinal benefits of weed, but, like, there isn't a fast way to profit off of that because it's still illegal in federally. But alcohol is legal, and it's just so much more acceptable, and it's never really sat well with me, honestly.
It's an interesting intake. So, yeah, so everyone yelling at Kevin Smith about this, I was like, you do you. I'm sure once he gets his priorities straight, he might light up a joint once or two and be like, oh, in moderation, if I'm just, want to watch some fireworks or want to watch this, I can.
Yeah.
But I think, well, he'll get there. Right now, he's made decisions. So, I mean, I'm not going to say anything to him. I'm not going to be like, want to smoke a doobie? If I ever met him. Because I really want to go down to Secret Stash.
Yes,
like that's on my bucket list. And when I go, I want to buy one of those rare comics.
Yeah.
So that's, like, on my goal. So I know, like, well, it's going to be, like, a $300 trip. Because I'm like, I got to buy, the first appearance of, like, some big character that I don't have.
Right.
That's not going to break the bank. Something to make it special. That way, when I always see this comic, I can be like, I got this at the Secret Stash. This is so cool. Like, I like doing that when I go to the comic book shops. Like,
absolutely.
Getting certain variants or certain covers.
And then you're
like, I got this. Like, my whole Power Ranger collection comes from Corning Comics.
Yep.
Like, he has gotten me, like, I was like, please, whatever covers you can get me, and boom. He started that, a few years ago, and I was getting covers out the wazoo. Like, I didn't realize when I asked for every single cover what that meant. Like, they would do the same cover and just a virgin cover of it, like, multiple times. And I was like, and I was able to break it down to, like, maybe not those, but any kind of other ones. And, that's where it comes. So, knowing that basically all the new horror books I get now come from Fat Cats.
Yes.
He's always hooking you up with the most scariest books he can find. I think he wants me to have nightmares. I'm not sure what Drew wants, but I'm pretty sure, like, every time
the man who loves Michael Myers wants you to have nightmares. What? Who'd have thought?
But he's like, hey, you want to try this new book? Here, take a look. And I'm like, Oh, no, no, no. I
And that's
just
when
give
you
that
go,
to you.
Amy, you read this.
Yes, I do.
And I go, okay. Because it's more like that paranormal shit as opposed to like quote unquote superhero shit. Like that's always been more my jam.
And
So,
I love that too.
yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I just love the superhero stuff. Like,
Yeah.
there's something special about reading the Hulk or Spider-Man that really get you in there. Maybe not Spider-Man right now.
I know, I was going to say.
Oh, are you ready to talk about this Spider-Man? I mean, it feels like it's a natural
No.
progression.
Correct, but I need to relight my joint because I have got some thoughts.
Hey, this is Jeff Dye. I'm with Fresh to Death Comics. Good dudes. I trust them. They're good men. And that's what I want you to listen to right now. Turn it on, or I'll cut your children.
Amazing Spider-Man by Zeb Wells has been.
That is a book.
So as we were
is a
talking last time on the show, we were talking about Spider-Man and this. I had proposed a question to you about love and how long would you wait for someone? Because married. When we get to issue 1 of the Amazing Spider-Man of Zeb Wells' run, we find out that Mary Jane is with this new guy and they have kids. And the kids are like super old. So I'm like, how did this happen? You can't just have a 10-year-old. I don't know how babies work, but I'm pretty sure you just don't pop out like middle schoolers. Like, I don't know if you can keep it in your stomach and maybe rubs, do some extra x-rays and it can grow. Like, does that
No.
like Jack syndrome? Like the Robin Williams movie.
He doesn't. They don't pop out of your vag at 45. Like they're not
don't
fully
know
grown.
how babies work.
Apparently not.
So
The stork brings them.
exactly. So this is what we end up with Spider-Man is this whole him everybody hates him because of whatever he's done with Mary Jane and it was all confusing. And so that happened last year
Correct.
and they have now revealed everything that has happened. There is this time traveler guy. He's been hunting them, and that was the one aspect I did like was Rabin like he appeared in like Brand New Day back when the Dan Slott run happened. So when I got to that part, I was like, oh, this is cool. I'm on board. Like connecting old series and making issues important. That's really cool. And as we're going on in this journey, we find out that like he has the ability to time grab people and hop him to the future. So he grabs Mary Jane and Peter and pops him into the future. And Peter's trying to figure, like, he has this time device and he's like, I can get us back. And then something happens. He's like, only one of us can go. And Mary Jane's like, you go. And sends him back into the present.
Correct.
And Peter, in a mad dash, trying as fast as he can, not answering any questions, gets a wristband, develops a new one, jumps back, and we're talking about he did this in less than, I would say, a few hours. Like, he was booking it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is one of those Spider-Man missions, like in a video game, and there's a clock down, and he's just zipping through. There's no side missions here. He's just going. So he's broken into everyone's lab. Everyone's like, you can't
He's
break
like,
in.
let me just use this. And they're like, wait, we need to make sure it's actually you because there's another version of you out there.
Yeah, and how many times has Peter Parker not been Peter Parker under the mask? Like, Doc Ock's taken over him. He's like, hey, guys, we're friends. Let me go blow up the world.
Yep.
But I could understand that. If you've been kidnapped, I'm not really thinking about anything else. I'm like, I need to. This is Amy. I'm going to go save her. Nothing else matters. I'm not answering phones. I'm getting you. So
Punch first, ask questions
correct.
later.
So I understand that part. And then Peter jumps into the teleporter, and he's like, all right, I made it. And now Mary Jane's with this whole family, and they're like, hey, you've been gone for a while. And I've been stuck with the question of how long was a while? And that's what we had asked you, the viewers, how long is a while? And I didn't want to tell the whole story last time because I didn't want to spoil it, but it's been out for a little while now. This new issue, What Happened to Mary Jane, came out this week. We found out the question, how long do you wait to give up on your love? And I had Amy read it. So, Aim, it was told in Comic-Con, so I said it on the show, that Zeb Wells is getting a lot of hate mail for this, a lot of death threats. He's been told to avoid conventions because of this. You said, Zeb Wells, come onto the show and bring Heidi, yay!
I did say that. Roll that beautiful pain footage. No, I'm kidding.
Thoughts now? You still want to come over?
Listen, yes.
Because it's a story.
Because it's a story,
But
and
let's
I'm
talk-
intrigued about what this all means. Like, what are the long-term repercussions of this? Like, I want to find out where he's going with this long-term. Like,
And this isn't the end.
Oh no,
He
I
still
know
plans
that. Like,
for
he's
another
still.
year.
Yeah, like I knew that this wasn't going to be the end.
Well, sometimes writers do this thing here and then they're gone. They're like, all right, I'm gone. See you next time. And then you're left with like, oh, okay. And the next writer takes on and they'll just kind of slowly erase it as it goes on. It happens so much in comics.
Yeah, they'll just kind of undo what they've
done
too
before.
much,
Like, for example, when Dan Slott killed Spider-Man, you know, he brought him back. So, like,
Yeah.
everything they do kind of go back. So, I'm not saying what happens here may not go back, but it may. I don't know at this point.
Yeah. And,
So, what's your thoughts? Talk to me.
well, I came out of the bedroom after reading 23 and 24, and I turned to you and I said, "Oh yeah, I understand why he's getting some death threats now."
Why?
Oh, because of basically prying apart Mary Jane and Peter. They're like OTP.
But we've known this for the past year that they are broken up. So why is this more important? Why do you feel justified that death threats are justified now?
Because Mary Jane has moved on in a way and is with somebody else. Like, has a full ass family with children.
And the children, but here's what's upsetting to me about. Okay, so keep going. I'll talk about it.
But I will say that your questions were
They're on point.
Your questions were on point. I had the same one, especially about the children. You know, how long, like, are these her and Paul is.
Yeah, Paul's the new guy. I don't like you, Paul. I have a cousin named Paul. He's a delightful guy. I like him. But now this new Paul, I'm like, I don't like this Paul. I hate guys named Paul. I want to punch him. I never see a Paul guy, I'm going to punch him. You know, and I'm like, God, my cousin named Paul. I like him. That's how much I don't like this Paul guy.
But, like, I understand it, though, because I feel like that, I don't know, maybe could have been me. Like, you know, if you and I were in that situation, you know, we probably would have fell in love. Let's be real.
No. See, okay, can I... this is what's upsetting to me. Is these kids are not their kids. They're like foster kids. They are victims of this apocalypse.
Yes,
So
they
they're
are not their
kids.
children.
So when Paul and them find them and they're like, we'll take care of you, what I would have done was been like, hey, my husband, Peter, is the greatest guy in the whole world. He's going to save us. And, you know, we're just going to take care of you, me and your Uncle Paul.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's no reason for them to have fallen in love. I know tragedy, but they weren't gone for that long. It was only a few years.
Let me put in perspective. It was 4 years.
Yeah, that's...
What else is 4 years long? A presidential term? Now think back to how long Trump's presidency felt.
I still think that if you truly love this person, and so that makes me question whether or not she loves Peter.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, your love is not that deep. And it makes my problem, the whole Castaway. I have that problem, too, with the movie Castaway. I don't like that he was lost at sea and that she moved on and had a whole family.
Okay.
Like, that is the most upset. That's why I've never watched, like, once I got there, I've never watched that movie over again. I hate the movie Castaway because I said, like, that's not what love, like, you wait for that person. If you were lost at sea, I would wait for you, Amy.
All I'm picturing now is like you floating down, like somehow you're stuck in the Caribbean and you're on like a pontoon boat that you've made by yourself somehow. And you're just floating down and you're just like, hey, bye. Hey, bye.
Just floating.
Just floating along, just crying out. Somehow you still have weed on you when it's dry.
It's what those baggies do. They protect it from the ocean.
Hey, bye. But so I'm okay. So you're somehow lost at sea.
Yes.
We've gotten separated. There was
Yep.
a plane crash. Somehow I lived and we couldn't find you.
Yep.
And everybody is telling me you need you need to move on. It's been a long time. Get past it. Are you gonna live or are you gonna mourn forever?
Until you're dead, until I can see your body, I'm going to wait for you.
All right.
Because
I'm glad we're finding out here now on the podcast so I can go back and reference it.
so
And to let everybody else know too what you
but
think I should
it
do.
wasn't like she knows Peter Parker is Peter Parker. He's going to be back. He promised he was going to be back. It wasn't like he was like, "Oh, I don't know where you are ever again. I can never find you." He knew how to do it. He just had to do it, and she knew he was coming, and she didn't wait for him. If I said, "Amy, I promise you, I will be back. I know how to do it. It might take me a few. I have to get everything, but I will be back. I promise."
But there's always that nagging voice.
What about when she went to the future and all of a sudden Green Goblin's there and is like, "Ha! I got you, Spider-Man." And
Yeah, like
murders
what
him,
if he
and then
couldn't have made it back? What if something horrible happened to Peter? Or what if something horrible happened to you?
She didn't have faith in Peter, and that's she didn't have faith in him. That's all there is to it. She didn't trust that Peter was going to come back and save her.
But if you're stuck in this horrible little world of, constantly running, constantly fighting every single day, every single minute, and survival, and you're just barely hanging on, how much hope do you really have at that point?
All the hope, knowing that every day I live, I guess I love love more than I think love exists. Like maybe I'm crazy, but that's just how I
Yes, you are.
feel. That's just how I feel.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I just don't like it.
All
And I
right.
would like to have a conversation with Zeb Wells about this. Like it's not bad writing. There's no reason for me to burn this book and say "fuck you, Zeb Wells." I hope you burn an ass. No, he is a great guy. I have talked to him.
Yes.
And I would just like to know, like what. I guess I'm really hooked in where this is gonna go because
Same
that
here.
is the
I mean, look at how
conversation.
long we've been talking about this already. We're talking about it. And that is already speaking. We read some books and we don't really say much more than a blurb.
Because it's so hard to talk about, like, oh, nothing happened in this book.
Yeah, but this is such a deep, philosophical and kind of a morally ethical question. Like, this is deep shit. And not all comics are asking those kind of questions right now.
I think it's funny because the last episode, you were talking about how you like these deep books like this, and I was like, Spider-Man's not. We're trying to decide how long you would wait to love for somebody. But I think this new issue with the new What Happened to Mary Jane issue, this newest one, really just cranked. I didn't think he was going to go this far.
Yeah.
I think that's really what he just cranked the level, put it at like maximum overdrive, and was like, hey, I'm not sugarcoating it. We're doing this. Because I really thought we were going to sugarcoat it, and it was just going to brush away of like,
oh no, it is balls to the wall.
like, I am surprised of how deep this has gone. Like, I wanted to critique it and be like, oh, but it has. It's gone. But see, that's what I like about the superhero books. Because they do this. There's some, not all of them.
Yep.
Sometimes they
you.
miss the mark. But and it depends on the writer who's writing it and the artist. Like the two of them combined, when you get a good team together,
Yes.
the way they tell a story is magnificent. Another example is the Avengers run. Ran for 5+ years.
Yes.
What an amazing run that Jason Aaron did. And when we first started, we had no clue how it was going to evolve and how it was going to go.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, like, a couple years in, and they introduced Blade on the team, and I was like, what is going on over here? Now they're fighting, the Avengers are fighting vampires. That's more of an X-Men thing, but doesn't seem Avenger level. And every time he just amped it up and amped it up to this Avengers Forever. Like, you had to have his Avengers books of kind of messing with time. Like, that's where the Heroes Reborn comes from.
Yep.
Like, this manifesto messing with time. And now we have the Avengers Forever, where they're grabbing every single iteration of Captain America's.
Yes.
Like, the best of the best of the Captain Marvels, the best of the Black Panthers. It was awesome reading all of their journeys. There's nothing deeper. There's no physiological, but it's just a fun adventure of this, like, ramped, when you do a good story of, like, I consider, like, a blockbuster movie.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And I just really, really enjoy, like, what Jason Aaron did in that Avengers run. Like, he built up Robbie Reyes, the Ghost Rider, and then they end up basically kind of killing him at the end of it. And I started weeping because I love Robbie Reyes. And I
So I'm not the only one that cries about comics?
oh, I cry all the time.
Because you kept looking over at me when we were doing the shows this week, and you were like, "Are you crying again?"
Well, it was I don't cry over every single issue I read.
Listen, they were really good this week, and I blame Stephanie Phillips. I also love Stephanie Phillips.
It is interesting, though, that the Something Epic book by Simon there.
Yeah.
When we read that, I read it, and I have such an overactive imagination, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I like to imagine, we can give me a guitar, I can make up a song in a couple of,
like 2 minutes.
Yeah, give me some topics, and I can make a song out of it. And, my favorite rapper, KJ52, does it.
Yes.
And he does, like, Friday, what was it called?
Freestyle Friday.
Freestyle Fridays, where they give him topics, and we went to his concerts. He would do that in the concerts, like, hey, people, give me some topics, and people would say things, and he'd try to trip them up, and then he would make this rap out of, like, I like macaroni and cheese at the dinner time, but everybody likes me because I'm hanging like Aaron time. I don't know, Aaron. I was trying to say Aaron Rodgers.
This went so sideways.
But that's why KJ is the professional, and I just do a podcast. I'm not a rapper.
Even though you say you're the greatest rapper ever frequently when you rap.
Yeah, because you have to. Got to build up your cred as you're rapping. Otherwise, I don't know you're the greatest rapper.
I'm a self-aware rapper. Yeah, it's me. I go ha ha ha, you see. Because Brian is ridiculous. Max, let's go upstairs and have some snacks.
You're just making poetry.
I am.
So, I having a creative mind is always something I've done. So when I'm reading this Something Epic book, and he's trying to describe to me what having imagination is, and when he pictures books, he pictures them alive, and they're coming to life to him. And I'm like, why are you explaining stuff I already know? So I kind of got, like, almost felt like I was being belittled.
Talked down to, like,
yeah, like,
this is how your brain works, Brian.
Yeah, and so I was like, Amy, you gotta read this book. And your response?
First of all, oh my God, this is so wordy. It was a very wordy.
It's a very wordy book because he's trying to explain it. But you didn't feel like he was being talked down to you.
No, because to me, this is where you and I are extreme opposites. As active as your imagination is how non-active mine is. Like, I'm very much, this is a thing, this is what the thing is, that's the end. Like,
so you don't look like, I have the Amazing Spider-Man, the #1 issue, as a poster. So just as a reference, because you guys are listening to this on a podcast, so you can't really see what I'm talking about. So if
descriptive audio.
I'm giving you a little descriptive. So on the Amazing cover, it's a poster. There are buildings. Do you see that, Amy?
Yes.
There's buildings in there.
Correct.
You never thought, like, who's in that building? What's happening in the city? Like, is the right there? What's happening in that building? And making up stories
No.
of what could happen in there?
No. That's a building. There's some lights on.
Yeah, but you don't
Spider-Man.
wonder if maybe like someone with a cat live there.
No.
Like it doesn't cross your mind to go any further
No.
than what you see Spider-Man swinging through the city. That's it.
Yeah.
You don't wonder why he's swinging too? Like,
'Cause
why is
he's
he swinging
Spider-Man.
too? Is he like facing some big baddie, or is he just hanging out in the night?
I don't know. He's doing a nightly stroll. Who's to say?
It boggles my mind that you don't like. And so when you read it, but it didn't keep you that you wanted to put on the pool.
It was mostly because money.
Okay.
So, in actuality, if
So the trade of this comes out, so I can get it, from Comixology for like $3 or something like that. Would
yeah,
you
I'd
wanna
probably
read
read it. Yeah.
Okay.
Or at the very least, borrow it from some sort of
Online.
digital library or something like that. I'm curious where this goes.
I am too, because see, that's my problem with it is the way this comic read. It read like a movie in your hands. Because
Yes.
as you're flowing with the comic, and it's very, even with my brain being broke as it is, I was able to follow it pretty well. Like
Yes.
it went in a linear motion, and as it's going on, all of a sudden you see, just like in a movie, like Image Comics presents, written by Simon, or as I think, written and drawn by him. And then you would have the letters, like in every so pages. It felt like a movie.
Yeah.
And then the last page of the book, like usually that's the barcode. That's just a blank page they put on there. That was actually the last page of the page.
Yes, and that
Of the book.
completely threw me off.
Me too, because all of a sudden I'm reading it and I'm like, wait, this is the last page. I flip it over. I'm like, what? And I like, and so I feel like in a digital form, I don't know if this book is going to be good that way.
If it's gonna translate, yeah.
Because it's so, when you're reading it, it feels like a movie in your hands, like one of those, like little flip books you used to get. You used to go real fast and you could see the dogs running across the page. That's what it kind of felt like to me. The way he drew it, and it felt like a movie. And I
Yeah,
liked
it felt like there was
but I just
motion
felt
to this
like,
comic.
yeah, I just felt like I was being talked down to. That's my problem. I was like, this is how my whole life is. Why do I need to read a book about my life that already exists?
Right, and that's when I tried to tell you that something like this is helpful for me because that helps me understand you more. And I think he's trying to write for people like me who don't really understand where this intensely creative brain is coming from and how you experience the world. Thoughts?
I never thought of it like that.
Yeah. So I don't think he was necessarily talking down to you. He was just bare bonesing it for those of us that don't really understand.
But as you said, it was real wordy. It was too wordy for you.
Yeah, especially when it was going into depth about like how much, how his different characters that he's created are living throughout the world. And there's this one, I remember this one specific like 2-page stretch out where there's his different friends or people that he's imagined walking down the street. And I'm just like, all right, I get it. Okay, I got it. They're living and breathing. They're here with you. And it's like flowing across the page up and down.
Yeah, art-wise, it's a beautiful book. Like
It is. I just thought that, there were times that I was like, okay, I get your point. We can move on with this story. I'm curious to see where this book goes. But if nobody else ends up ordering it and Drew doesn't end up buying anymore, am I going to be totally upset that I didn't get a chance to read it?
That's how I feel. I
Yeah.
feel like I could. The
Take it or
story.
leave it?
I feel like at this point, the story he's going to tell is either going to disappoint me, or it's going to be too outrageous, and I'm like, no, that's not how that works.
Yeah, that's why.
Because I feel like I'm just going to be bored in it. Because I live this life. I feel like if you're a lawyer, you don't like reading lawyer books. Like, because you're like, I live it day to day. I don't want to read about it day to day. Like, I don't want to read John Grisham. I live John Grisham.
Yeah.
Unless John Grisham's nothing like being a lawyer. I know I wanted to be a lawyer in high school. My guidance counselor was like, you can't go to Harvard. And I was like, well, if you can't go to Harvard, then What's the point of going to law school? And that was my thought.
So then you stopped caring about school.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, what, any other degree I need, I'm going to be good at. So, like, I didn't attend class in this one class. The teacher called my dad. Was like, your son's not going to be able to graduate high school. And I was like, I already, like, no matter what happens in the class, I got a C. I'm good. Like, it would be the first C I ever got.
Yeah.
So at the same time, I was like, I don't want that on my record. Like, it might be important one day if I got a C. I just felt like I was being talked down to. That's all. And then one last thing to talk about. We had to wrap up something from last episode. We were talking about the Power Rangers special. We were talking about Lost Galaxy. And Amy threw some shade on Lost Galaxy. She said it wasn't very good and how she didn't like certain characters. And we have now gotten to, and Amy had asked a question, was this the first, like, when I found out about Trini's death?
Correct. Her real life death.
Her real life death. Did I know about it? Like, was that my first Power Ranger death? And I didn't know how to answer it because at the time, Trini was alive. When they end up killing Kendricks in the Lost Galaxy, that was the first Power Ranger on-scene death ever.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know how to tell you at the time without spoiling it for you. Because I was like, oh, I don't know how to tell you this, but this is what's going to happen. So it's just...
Well, can I let you know where you may have stumbled slightly in this? When you first got the Heroes of the Grid game, I probably should not have remembered this, but it piqued my interest, so I did. But when we were going through and I was picking out all the Pink Rangers, because I wanted a Pink Ranger.
I don't know if it was from the Heroes of the Grid game, though. I want to say it might have been from... When we first started hanging out, we were playing that. I know we were playing that game at that night.
Yes.
And you were kind of confused of who the different Rangers were and why there was, like, multiple Red Rangers, like why I'd asked you what Pink Rangers you wanted to be.
Because to me, there was only one
And I
Pink Ranger.
grabbed all my Funkos and all my Zords.
Oh, you mean this video that I still have on my phone to this day?
I got all my Zords and I got all my Pops together, and I proceeded to give you the whole Power Rangers timeline. And I don't know how long I went, so I don't know if I went to Lost Galaxy or I went to Dino Thunder.
No. What happened, it's you specifically went on a 10-minute rant about, explanation of how Tommy Oliver specifically went from evil Rita Repulsa's Green Ranger to becoming the Good Ranger and becoming a fully villain turned hero.
Okay.
So that's what that video was with the Zords.
All right, because I know I talked about... I wasn't sure how far I went in that video, if I talked about Lost in Space or Galaxy. I didn't know how far I went.
We should...
Because I know I talked about Zeo.
Yeah, I should definitely upload this to the
Should you... Okay, we will put this on the... Cue video.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
So a really long time ago, there was a bad person. Her name was Rita. She was like, I'm Rita and I'm bad. And then he had a friend named Goldar, and he was like, I'm Goldar and I work for you. And they fought bad guys, and they would try to take over Earth. And then Alpha and Zordon stopped them. They trapped them in a portal for 10,000 years. But all of a sudden, they released one day, and they were like, let's destroy it. Let's make monsters. And they made all these monsters. And all the monsters were like, we're going to destroy everything. So Zordon was like, oh no, we need something. So he created the Power Rangers. And these are just 2 of them. I can get more, but we don't have more table space, so we just have 2 Rangers. And they would be like, we're going to fight you. And they go, da 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 da.
I love that they're kissing.
No, they were fighting. They're like, pow, pow.
Yeah, that's not fighting. The other one was like...
And he was like, ooh, ooh, And then when he'd be like, all right, we got him on the ropes. And they're like, we're going to kill him. Where he would be like, no, make my monster grow. And then this would go. And then the scenery would change to the desert. And these things would be 25 stories tall. And they'd be like, we are going to fight you. And it would be really scary. So, like, we need dragon Zord power. And so they had to get these Zords. And they would be like, we're big Zords. And they were like, oh, we can't believe we have all these Zords. And they go, oh, look at this. And then they're like, see, then there's the pink one. She flies in. She's like, hey, guys, I'm in here. And so in the rules of the Power Rangers, you cannot escalate a confrontation. You can only reciprocate. So what happened is all of a sudden they're big and giant. So they're big giants. So these are little tiny ones. So in comparison. So they got real small. So they're like, oh no, he's really big. We need help. Ah! And so Zord's like, we're going to give you these. So he's like, all right, cool. And goes, and he goes into here. And they're like, all right, let's fight him. And he's like, all right, we're good. He's like, poo, 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 poo. And they're like, guys, these suck. We can't do anything. And he's like, I'll get you. I'm a saber-toothed tiger. Roar, roar, meow. And he's like, rah. Oh, we can't do it. And he's like, and like, we're so good. And he's like, and then the mask said, he should have a head on, but I don't know where I lost. I bought it without one. And so he gets him down. And he's like, we got him. And he's like, I got you. And they're like, what should we do? And they go, we gotta form the Megazord. And they go, how do we do that? And they go, just trust yourselves. And they go, all right. And all of a sudden everybody goes, do 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 do. Alexa, play the Power Ranger theme song.
Sorry, I don't know that.
All right.
I do have a skill you might like.
Alexa, stop. Did you? I was like, look at his little tiny arms. He's like, I can't get him. Like they'll be fighting. He's like, I can't get him. My little tiny arms can't get him. Yeah. So he goes. He's got to tuck those arms in because they can't do anything, and he has really short legs too. So he's like, I'm gonna tuck these away. So he's like, he pulls this. He's like, all right, I'm ready. Get me mounted. And they go, all right, we're gonna go. And he goes. And this one goes, meow, meow, wow, wow, wow. Another cat, lady, another cats. And they go, and then it goes, and they're like, look at us, we got legs. He's like, I got big legs for the first time. But then he's like, I need arms. And he's like, do you have big old arms? He's like, yeah, I got big old arms for you, bro. No worries. And he's like, all right, let's hook me up. And he's like, all right, here we go. And so he's like, all right, here we go. And we're just going to attach these arms somehow on him. And they go this way. All right, we still got some time. Hans, let me know he's almost ready. All right, so, and then, oh, I forgot to put his face down. Oh no, I messed up. We need to take this off because this has to go. Power Rangers. Oh, little tiny arms up, they go up. Let's pop these bad boys back on. So these ones go on, and he's like, all right, but you know, they could still fight, and they'd be like, all right, but know what's going to happen is this is where the Rangers sit. So she's like, don't worry, guys, I got you protected. And she's like, and then this goes right on here, and they go, all right, cool, now we can fight Kron. Oh, hang on. All right, I got to do this one first. Hang on, this goes. So these go like that. There we go. And so this fits on, but this is years of not being played with. All right, so he's like, all right, we're gonna fight you now, and they'd be like, oh no, when they kill him. And so they'd be like, yay, we're the best ever. But then they got really, really bad. Rita's like, I don't like this is sucky. I don't like this. So she's like, I'm gonna create a ranger of my own. She creates the Rain Ranger, and he has his awesome Dragon Zord. And they go into a big fighting match, and they're like, I'm gonna fight you. Boom, 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 boom. And he's like, you know what? While we're fighting, I'm also going to destroy the city. And they're like, what? And she's like, ah. She sits up here watching. Ah. And so in the city, he's like, I'm gonna destroy all this stuff. Do, 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 do. And then when they fight, oh, that was happening. All right, when they fight, he's like, I'm gonna hit you with my tail. Ah! And this thing would spin. And he'd be like, roar! And they would be fighting. And finally he was like, you don't have to do this, Tommy. We could be friends. He's like, no, we can't. I'm a bad guy. He's like, you don't have to be. He's like, really? He's like, really? He goes, okay. And they become friends. And so now they team up and they're like, Rita, we're gonna fight you. And she's like, no, what am I gonna do? And then she's like, we gotta hide. And Lord Zed comes. He's like, hey, you're gonna mess with me. And they're like, no, you're not. We're gonna fight you. And he's like, and she's like, oh yeah. Also, I can take his power. He's like, no, I'm losing the Green Ranger power. And then he can't become the Green Ranger. So then he loses the Dragon Zord. That goes away. And so he's like,
Sad.
oh no, what do I do? I'm so sad. And Alpha's like, listen, don't tell anyone. We're going to kidnap you for a week and nobody will know. And he's like, okay. But at the same time, the Red Ranger decides to go away and become a different Red Ranger. So he's a new Ranger. He talks a little bit different. He talks more of the California accent. He's like, how you doing? So, so he's like, you have to not tell anyone. So he's like, okay. So they hide for a week. And they're like, yo, hey guys, how's it going? Let's get a Xanthe. And he's like, guys, I can't find Zordon anywhere. What do we do? And they're like, oh no. And she's like, let's release all the bad guys that ever existed. And they're like, okay. And they're like, ah. And so it's real awful. And they're fighting. And Goldar's even joined the battle. And they're like, we can't do this. You're so powerful this time. And all of a sudden, out from the shadows, there comes... Use this one because it's cute. Comes the White Ranger with his white Megazord, and he's like, hey guys, I'm the White Ranger now. I was green and now I'm white. And they're like, no. And he's like, and then they start fighting and everything's great and wonderful. And that was the end of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Next time we'll do Power Rangers Ninjas. And I'll have action figures I could use.
Oh, not just pops.
Not just pops.
And Megazords.
So Amy, you found out some stuff. You found out that Kendricks died. Your thoughts, feelings, what happens? Like who replaces her? Like that's like some of like it makes Lost Galaxy like once you get to that point, like Lost Galaxy becomes awesome.
Yes.
Like
I want it here on record on this day, May 13th, that I was wrong about Lost Galaxy. I gave the show a lot of shit because I was like, who the fuck are these people? They're not as good as In Space because as we've discussed, I think he's trying to tell us to leave.
So, as we said earlier, we are smoking in our basement. And there's a lot of smoke in here. We've been kind of...
We were hotboxing.
Clam bacon in here.
Is that what it's called?
I don't know what it's called. I'm making it up. We clam baked.
Sure.
So, he is in here, and he is worried because there's all this smoke that's coming through the door. And so he just came into me, sniffed the air, and was like, meow, come on. We got to get out of here. I got to save you. You're going to die in here. It's too smoky. I'm a cat. Go! I feel like that is legitly what happened.
I mean, most likely. I mean, looking out into the hall, I can see just the light on the haze of the light.
So back to Power Rangers. So you found out. So you said on this date you were wrong.
I was wrong. So once we got to the episode, the string of episodes that you were talking about, yes, I will say, when Kendricks died, I was crying because I felt so bad. Because also it was at that moment that I remembered, and which is what I have been kind of watching Power Rangers. Because you had told me that one of the Pink Rangers ends up getting breast cancer.
Oh, it was leukemia.
Leukemia, okay. Yeah. That they got in some form of cancer. I've just always kind of subconsciously kept that. Because I'm always like, wait, is this the one? Is this like the character that's going to be ripped away from me? And I was like really shitting on Kendricks, and I feel awful now.
But I do, like, and I think it's just because it was just poorly written. They focused most of the episodes on Leo, and how
Wait,
he's
you mean not Billy Zane?
yes, not yes. They focus on Leo, and they don't really give each ranger their dues. Like, if you really look at Kendrick, she was the Billy of the team.
Yes.
She was the one who created all this stuff. She was like inventing everything for everyone. Hey, we can use this stuff. Hey, I was reading this and found this for you.
Yeah.
So Kendrick's was like the literal lifeblood of the whole team, but she was not written well.
No, and that was my problem with her, is just that they weren't. It took a long time for
Like Reggie Roland.
Reggie Rowley. Yeah,
Yeah, Reggie Rowley is a
As
phenomenal
Damon,
actor.
he's great. He's just like every time. I just love every time that Damon takes over the controls of the ship, because he looks at everybody and is just like, "You guys, white people, you can't drive this thing." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. White people cannot drive this thing. Please save everyone." So just the way that he looks, and not only that, but him being so technical is also really awesome to see, because Maya, or no, it wasn't Maya, it was Corone who puts Damon up for the job.
Which, come on, they brought Corone.
They brought Corone back. Pew, pew, pew. So when we watched that string of episodes,
Because that's how you have to watch.
Waterworks, I was just sobbing the whole time. I was like, I think I ended up flat out ugly crying to you at one point. Like, I just am so glad that she's back. She didn't get a chance to become a ranger. Now she's got a chance.
I love redemption stories of good guys or bad guys becoming good guys.
I literally did that.
Stop. We are okay. We are. We're okay. You don't need to come grab me. and say, You're not a firefighter cat. Do you want to be a firefighter cat? We can make you a firefighter cat. Come here. He is worried about her safety.
I know, buddy. We got snacks. We're fine. And he just bolts right out of here as soon as he thinks we're making any getting up noises.
He's just looking at the smoke going, This is
isn't
not
safe.
okay. We are not okay. I am a firefighter cat.
You guys are idiots. Your lives are in danger.
My grandmother is a nurse. I have learned how to do cat CPR. Stands for Cats People Relations. I got this.
Cats people relations. Right on cue. And now he's licking, so he's fine.
So, I know we haven't finished Lost Galaxy. You got like 5 episodes left. You're right near the end. It's getting down there. So, needless to say, when we got to that point, I was like, because we were watching the most essential episodes, as we were saying, and we got to once Corona hits up, I'm like, you want to skip any? And you're like, nah.
No,
I'm
I'm strapped in for this ride.
So, but that's something you have to know with Power Rangers. Once the Zordon error is gone, it's every single time we're going to get new Rangers. You get to know these new Rangers. And you got to put that, like, from here on forward. Like, Lost Galaxy's kind of that kick in the pants of, like, hey, we're changing things up.
Yep.
And you got to kind of just roll with it. Like, when we get to the next season.
I've learned that the hard way now.
Yeah,
through this season.
So when we get to the next season.
Because you didn't. I thought there was, like I said, I thought there was going to be a passing of the torch, and there was none of that.
There's going to be no passing of the torch from here on out.
Which I do kind of miss that aspect.
Correct. But as you go on, they'll have their own reasonings for it. Like, there's going to be one that's all, like, a rescue. It's called Lightspeed Rescue, where they're all, like, part of different rescues, like firefighters and ambulances.
Yeah.
So that's their specialties. So it's the best of those. So no one's even chosen. It's just the best. And there's a police squad that's
going to be interesting. We were rewatching.
Listen, there's Doggy Kruger. He's pretty awesome.
Never mind. I'm already sold on this season.
So, needless to say, Power Rangers, you're hooked on. But I just thought it would be fun to talk about because you were just shitting on it so hard. You were like, I do not like Lost Galaxy. Listen, I may not want to watch Power Rangers anymore. I know you got a whole bunch in there, but oh my goodness, I am kind of checking out a little bit. Hopefully, it gets better from here.
Yep.
So, just like now, there's gonna be some seasons of Power Rangers I don't even like.
Yeah.
There's
which
some I
I'm
haven't
gonna be
seen.
shocked to find.
The Magic ones I haven't seen because I wasn't allowed to watch the Magic ones growing up.
Well, you're an adult in your own house now, so.
I know, so I'm gonna watch them and see what happens because one of them is an important thing. I don't even want to talk to you about. But so Power Rangers in the future. That's another thing. That's why I wanted to bring this up. So Free Comic Book Day happens.
Yes.
And one of the books this Free Comic Book Day was called Ranger Academy, where they're training Ranger like it's like a pre-Ranger squad, like they're training Rangers to be the next Power Rangers kind of thing.
Yes.
And all I could think of is like, we called this thing the Power Ranger mentorship
program.
Like, hey, I'm Walter Jones. I want to, this is
I'm
Brian.
the big. This is my little.
Yeah, like I personally recommend this man for the group because that happens all the time in academies.
Yep.
Where the first Power Rangers are like, so now I just want to write for Boom Studios. I just want to be like, hey, let me do the mentorship. We'll do this series called the Mentorship Program. We'll have like them choosing the Rangers who they think would be good fits. I got this. I don't know. It's cool. Also, this kind of works in with my D&D game.
Oh yeah.
Like I've been kind of
that we
working
also
on this,
got
so,
from Corning Comics and Collectibles.
Like I said, most every Power Ranger thing in the house comes from Corning's, but there is a guy at Fat Cats who's been selling his Power Ranger stuff to Fat Cats that I've just been buying. So it's all comics. It's all Corning Comics, and then a little bit of this guy from Fat Cat Comics.
Yes,
just a specific guy. Like it's gone to a point where he knows he's gonna go to me, and he's like, "Hey, Drew gets a cut. We're all gonna just get a little bit more than retail." And I'm like, I'm fine with that. I can't find this anywhere. You're better than eBay prices. Let's do this.
And you don't have to pay for shipping.
Everybody. That's one thing I do like about Fat Cat Comics is there's this mentality that like we're not all poor. Like let's all get rich together.
Yeah.
And that's a weird aspect in the comic shop when someone's like, "Hey, I order a lot of these books. This book's going to sell really well. Do you want to pick it up?" And people go, "No." And then Drew's like, "Okay." And then when he's done, he's got like this stack. He's like, "These are all the people who said no to this book. I'm going to sell it now for $10." And now he's got $1,000.
Yep.
When he's offered me books, and at first I was like, "No, I'm good."
He's been offering me books too, and he'll be like, "Oh, because you might want to get this because of X, Y, and Z."
Yeah.
Because of there was an Avengers Disney cover, or it was for Spider-Man. That's why there was a Disney variant, and it's all the Disney characters, but they're drawn in the style of Avengers.
Of the new Avengers.
Of the new Avengers, and Drew's just like, it's just probably gonna go up in rarity because we got those Disney folks that are just collecting, all of them that are coming out on every single series, and then there's people like you who are the diehard Spider-Man fans who are also looking to get that variant because it is a Spider-Man variant. So I was like, that was good enough for me. I was like, give me that $25 book and hopefully we can flip it and make it $50. That'd be cool at least.
Oh, was that an expensive variant?
I think it was like $25. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's fine with me. I'm glad I imported that one.
Yes. So I was like, let's spend money to make money.
All right. I didn't know any of this. I saw the cover.
Surprise!
And of course
love
I like.
you. Well,
of course I love this cover.
Well,
any Spider-Man.
And you get all Spider-Man variants.
I do.
So.
I want all the Spider-Man covers. And that's why I feel like I'm the perfect person to talk to Zeb Wells about Spider-Man.
Yes.
Because I've read it, I live it, I breathe it. I love Peter Parker. And the fact that I don't want I still want to talk to Zeb Wells and be friends with him should show you that it's not that bad. It's fine. It's a story. Just because you tell a story doesn't mean I wish you ill harm. I just want you to explain your actions.
Yeah, I just want to know where.
I
just want to know who hurt you, Zeb Wells.
Yeah.
Who hurt you?
Who hurt you? Was it Heidi? Is it because she's kissing all those guys in SNL? I saw the football sketch. I saw what happened with the Kelsey brothers.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that one.
It's just, especially like knowing that they've been married for so long.
Right?
Like if Zeb Wells wasn't married, I would have a whole thing like he doesn't know what relationships is. Like he doesn't get it. But he's been married for in Hollywood world probably forever.
Yeah.
Like I know it's what is it?
Like 14 or
I don't know how
I
many
have
years.
no idea. 6 years at least.
I thought you said that many years. Yeah.
I say a lot of numbers.
Oh, you say a lot of numbers. It's many years. But in Hollywood, like, especially, they're both working nonstop.
Oh yeah, and then both I would say, because correct me if I'm wrong, but Zeb also dabbles in Robot Chicken, correct?
Yeah, that's where he got his. That's why I met him at
okay. Was
Comic Con
okay.
was through Robot Chicken.
Yeah,
but
so
he'd been dabbling in comics at that time.
yeah,
So he wrote some X-Men books. I think he might have written a Spider-Man. Yeah, he wrote some Spider-Man books at the time.
yeah,
But it was just,
yeah.
this guy, and he was kind of really known for Robot Chicken.
Gotcha. Okay. And he's really gone on to really become, that comic book author.
Yeah, he's right.
He's written so many.
So many books. I really enjoy his writing. So whenever something comes out, I'm like, oh, let me pick that up. It's kind of like Donny Cates,
Yep.
which I hope he's okay. I mean, I liked that last issue of Hulk that Ryan Otley had done. Like Ryan Otley taking over the reins, doing everything himself. Kudos to Ryan. I just wish I would have gotten the Cates version.
Yeah.
Because it kind of this Hulk series kind of felt like the Justice League movie, where halfway through production, the tragedy with Zack Snyder's family happened with the car accident,
yeah.
and all of a sudden you had Josh Whedon step
coming
in and do his version,
Yes.
and that's kind of how. And I shouldn't compare it because it's different, but also the same. I'm just comparing it under two separates, if that makes sense. It's not the same quality.
Yes.
Because it's Ryan Otley's is good. I just don't know how great it could have been with Cates' writing. Like, what was he going to add? What little special thing was he thinking at the last second he could have added?
Yeah.
Because when you're writing it, like, yeah, you have a plan, but sometimes when you're writing it, you're like, oh, I'm going to throw this in here because I'm Donny Cates and I have this twist I'm thinking of. And I just thought of it right now. So I almost want the Donny Cates version of it and just compare it.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
it was very lighthearted. So I could tell it was Ryan Otley, like
yeah, no,
And-
Donny Cates is
dark and brooding and
dark
emo.
and brooding. He's
Like he was that kid in high school who was that emo kid who was like sitting in the corner. I don't know if he was, like that's how I perceive him now. Like when he was at the Comic Con.
Watch, he's like, I played football. What are you talking about?
I know, like,
motherfucker?"
I know, like, I don't know anything about his personal life. Like, he could have been the complete opposite. Like, he was the jock in school, and like, I'm on the basketball team, and like, I push nerds down the stairs. And then he gets older and is like, no, I didn't like that. I don't like dark and brooding stuff. And
That's why I gave all those kids swirlies, because I was afraid to get a swirly myself.
no, I believe that he was the
Yeah.
dark emo kid. The stuff he writes is dark and depressing and very
Brooding.
brooding. So he's been through some shit. So
Oh, yeah,
I
he's
just-
seen some things.
I just hope he's okay because
I do,
He has
too.
nothing in the works. Like
Well-
even the latest issue of Vanish that came out
Yeah.
had Stegman as the doing the story, while he had someone else doing the art. Why Donny Cates was credited as like the creator and plot, I think it was. So I don't even know what's going on there. Like, I just really worry for.
I know.
It's so good. He's such
Especially
a great
'cause
writer.
Donny Cates was also just a super nice guy when we met him at Terrificon a couple years ago.
So nice.
And you were able to really pick his brain about about his one comic there.
Oh, about Buzzkill.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
because so Buzzkill, whenever this character does any kind of drug, he gets special powers. So even caffeine to aspirin and alcohol gives him like superpowers, like it makes him super strong. And so it really just focused on alcohol, that issue. And like he mentions caffeine, or he would like take an aspirin or something like that, but never got anything harder. And so I asked him, because being on that side of the world and seeing the dangers of it, I was like, what about the harder stuff? Like, how was there any intention to do that? And he was like, yeah, that was my whole intention for Buzzkill, was like each issue is going to deal with a different vice, a different drug, and show like the dangers of it and how it's affect him. But Dark Horse is like, no, 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 this is bad. So I really, like, I would love to see the continuation of that, or like they did with the Nemesis book. Let's just do Buzzkill Reloaded, and he tells the original story the way he wants.
Yeah, that'd be
or
interesting to
what
see.
you do is do Buzzkill, the actual story, and the story that we got was his version of it. So, like we talk about, oh, I'm addicted to this drug. Like, oh, alcohol is the worst. I'm gonna get off of alcohol, guys. I'm really good, but secretly I'm smoking cocaine.
You're smoking cocaine.
I don't know how. I'm snorting cocaine, and all of a sudden you are hiding that. And so we can make it where he was just telling the story. This is what happened when I did alcohol, everybody. And the second part is like, oh, you didn't tell us the whole story of what happened. You've been hiding some stuff, and you could continue it that way. Like that.
Yeah.
That would be a cool little transition. Something like that.
Yeah, I didn't realize. Like, I remember you telling me about this, I think, after, like filling me in after we were walking away from his table about the book.
Well, because it's hard to talk about, because
Yeah,
drug addiction is,
not an easy topic.
because it's different for everyone. The things I experienced is different than things other people have experienced, and I don't want to take anything away when I'm like, oh, I love this drug because, I don't have a problem with it. While other people are like, oh, this is my vice. Like, I would murder someone for this, and I don't have that feeling.
Mhm.
So I just feel like I don't know how to represent it properly. So it's hard to talk about,
Yes.
with being respectful to everybody who's gone through this journey of their own journey.
Yeah. I just wish he would have been able to do his book his way. That's all.
Correct, and that's what I was hoping with Vanish, but now I just hope Donny Cates is okay. That's all I hope. That's like my one wish, is that he's okay. That maybe he just needed a little break from it all, and that's fine. Like sometimes you need to run away. Like
you just adore Donny Cates. Like, I know this. You love him.
I do, because he's such a great writer and he's such a nice man. When I met him,
you just
him and his
genuinely want to
wife
make
were, like,
sure.
so kind. and-
Yes. We just want to make. We're just curious if you're okay, Donny Cates. That's all. We hope you're okay.
I hope so.
Good vibes your way, buddy.
So with that, I think this is a great time to end it with some good vibes to Donny Cates.
Yes.
So thank you guys so much for listening to us. We'll hope to see you guys again soon, and we love your faces.
We'll see you next time.